right, guys. Wow. I don't even know where to begin with this week because it was a lot emotionally. Um and I don't even know where to begin. This week was just a lot emotionally. Um so it's week 7. I got my nails done, by the way. How do you like them? They're very cute, right? Week 7. Anyways, sorry. But so this week was about recovering a sense of connection. And it says, we turn this week to the practice of right attitudes for creativity. The emphasis is on your receptive as well as active skills. The essays, exercises, and tasks aim at excavating areas of genuine creative interest as you connect with your personal dreams. So this week essentially was a lot about listening to my inner child. That was the biggest thing for me. Shutting off my brain and just listening to my inner child. And that was a lot emotionally. Through the work with my morning pages, I'm vulnerable. I am raw. I am a lot more vulnerable, I feel, in my morning pages than I even come across on here when I'm doing these weekly checkups. And this week was a lot. It was a lot. Particularly, I think it was Friday. Yes, it was Friday. Oh my gosh, these kids. But anyways, it was on Friday, and I was meditating, as I always do after doing my morning pages, my affirmations, and all of that. And I was crying during my meditation. I was. And I mean, like, bawling my eyes out. And particularly what triggered that feeling was I was just telling myself while I was meditating, I was just like, just let go. There's something that you need to let go of. Just let go, just feel. And the night before, I was scrolling on TikTok, as we do, and I came across this video of this Black woman. She's a therapist, and she was discussing how she had an issue with one of her clients where her client is very self-aware, right? And they were trying to figure out, like, you're so self-aware, but it doesn't feel like you're making any big progressions towards healing and towards overcoming all of your traumas. But so, like, where is the disconnect happening, essentially? And she was basically just telling her, like, this exercise that they were doing, she was just like, oh, feel whatever you need to feel, right? And then hold that emotion. And while her client was holding the emotion, she was making this face every single time. And she said, wait, what is that face? When you make that, what are you feeling? And her client was basically expressing disgust. And that was because whenever she was growing up and she would, show any sort of emotion and reaction that was not anger, and display that in front of her mother, particularly, her mother would react with disgust. So she kind of started to use that as a shield within herself, so that, yes, she's like aware, this is my issue, but in order to block herself from feeling that, she would internalize it as disgust, as towards the emotion, because how dare she feel this, how dare she feel this? She's not supposed to feel this. She's supposed to be strong. And I guess that must have sat with me, because in my meditation the very next morning, I was just like, let go of whatever it is that you're thinking of. You're hyper focusing on this one thing. Let go and sit in that emotion. And I just, oh my gosh, like, it was like, even thinking about it now, it's like, I hate using the word weird, but I'm also just realizing how commonly I would do that. And what finally made it click for me was, I was like, the reason why I'm tending to hyper focus on certain aspects of my life or on certain things that I'm trying to manifest is because my younger self, my inner child, is the one who is desperate for attention right now. And instead of me giving my attention to my younger self, I am taking that desperation and using it to hyper focus on something that I'm working on something that I want to manifest. And that in turn leads me to yearn for something so desperately that I can then neglect my younger self because I'm not focusing on what she actually needs. She's the one who wants attention. She's like, look at me. I want to talk to you. I need to talk to you and let go of this emotion. But because I feel that I'm not ready to face said emotion, I will take that desperation to fuel and hyper focus in another aspect of my life. And when I realized that on Friday, it made me, I was crying like a baby. I cannot remember the last time I cried that hard. Mind you, it was like, because for some reason, my body clock is now always awake at like either 5:30 or 6:30 in the morning. I don't know what it is, but that's what my body clock is doing these days. And I was around like 7, because it takes me about like 30 minutes to like do my affirmations and my prayers and stuff. So maybe around like 7-ish, I was crying my eyes out on my bed. My bed is right here. I'm crying my eyes out like a baby. And it was because I'd finally acknowledged her. Like I was giving younger me the space. And I had a whole internal conversation with myself. And I was just like, I am so sorry I've been doing this. I'm doing to you exactly what my parents did to me. Because I'm realizing I'm also someone who's very self-aware. To a fault. That's why I also have these cheat codes on how I can go ahead and ignore certain parts of myself. Because I know what it is. I know what this is in this moment. But I've tricked my brain to be like, oh, well, let's bypass this and focus on this instead. You need to focus, but no. Because that is reopening old wounds that I guess I was not ready to face. And now I am. When I tell you, after crying, I just felt so at peace because I let go. I just needed to let go. And that also, because also another topic of discussion this week was perfectionism. And I was realizing that desperation for something that I want, there's also this underlying tone of perfectionism in it, because I tell myself, younger me growing up was hearing all these things of, this is how you're supposed to act. This is how you're supposed to move in the world. This is what the world is going to expect of you. These are the check boxes that you need to tick off going out into the world. And if you do not tick off every single one, you have to go back to the drawing board or scrap the whole thing. And throughout this week, I've been battling with myself because I have a big decision to make. And I've been going back and forth. How am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? And I just sat with myself and I was just like, why do I need to make a decision? Why am I forcing myself to make a decision when I could just do it? Regardless of the outcomes, regardless of how people perceive it, regardless of what limiting expectations that I have internalized and I'm placing on my creativity, on my work. I just need to go out and do it. That's it. Forget the check boxes. This isn't even like a conversation about fear anymore. I'm past that already, okay? I'm past the whole fear thing. This is more so me realizing and having to force myself to unlearn all of the neglect that I faced as a child. that is now manifesting in my creativity and making it difficult for me to create. Oh my gosh. Even just saying that out loud was like, and one of the things, I'm actually going to read it off here. So one of the tasks that we had to do was we had to like calligraph, I don't know how the fuck you're supposed to say it. But we were supposed to make a little there's a quote, and then we were supposed to, use calligraphy and like decorate and stuff. And I put it up on my wall, and it says, "Treating myself like a precious object will make me strong." And that was also a big thing for me this year, this week, because I also took more risks. All right. When, as you know, literally like in the first week of me starting this whole thing, I got a car, and it's a manual car. I needed to learn how to drive a manual car, or stick shift for the Americans. But I was so scared. So like I've been driving, going to the shop, coming back. And this week I took the furthest drive out, which was to go to Tiger Valley, a mall which is about roughly like 20 or so minutes away from my house. I drove there and back. Was I not terrified? Because I have driving anxiety. Because again, I don't like I know how to drive an automatic. Because it's just and go. Do you know what I mean? Stick shift, it's gear change. You need to focus. Oh, the car is like stalling, and you need to know how to fix that. So I took it upon myself because I needed to go to the bank for like adulting, basically. And that's, you know what I mean? So I had to drive there. And my mom was like, "I will send you money for an Uber if you're scared." And I was like, first of all, still sending me the money because I'm not going to say no. But I can do, like, I know how to drive. It's been 7 weeks now. I know how to drive. I just haven't driven that far of a distance by myself yet. All right. But I know how to drive. Because I drive alone, like to the shop, to work, I drive. Do you know what I mean? Even though my work, my job's like, anyway, not important. But like, that was a big thing. And I also ended up turning that into an artist date because I love going to the mall and I love shopping and fashion. And I was just like window shopping, and I found really, really amazing. Getting sidetracked. But I it was also because I turned it into an artist date as well, because I was just like, one of my things, one of the artist dates that I did want to do was just, go to a mall. And I did that. And when I got back home, I was like, girl, the driving anxiety, I think because of how I did, like, because of that, it shifted something in me where I was like, yes, I still have driving anxiety because, hello, but also it's not as bad as I was making it out to seem. Like, it really wasn't. Like, because I know what I'm doing. And that also ended up low-key being a metaphor for me and like my music and everything. I was like, you know what you're doing. You've been working on you've garnered such a strong skill set for yourself because you've been doing this alone for so long. So you know what you're doing. You know what it's supposed to look like, how to do it. Just do it. Stop expecting X, Y, and Z. Stop waiting for all of this. Just do it. It doesn't need to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect. And that is okay. But because I'm taking the risk and I'm stepping outside of my comfort zone and I'm going further than I ever thought possible, I sat back. And even now, as I absorb this information, it's like, you sit and you think about these things and it's like, well, duh. Well, obviously that's the answer. But because of all of these things that you've been told and all of these bad habits that you've picked up growing up that now are stuck with you as an adult, as a 20-something-year-old, having to force yourself to unlearn it is so difficult. Well, not difficult, but it's a lot of work because you've been in this habit for years now. I like to think that adulthood for me has only just begun. This year. This week. No, not this week. This year, actually. I truly now feel like an adult. I feel like I'm doing things the way that an adult should. And that's because I'm letting go of my childhood. But in order for me to step fully into my adulthood, I also need to acknowledge a lot of the broken and unfinished yearnings of my child self. She wants a lot because she was not allowed to want for things. And now that I'm acknowledging her and I'm trying my best to parent her the way that she should have, older me, adult me in this time, feels a sense of accomplishment. And younger me feels a sense of gratitude. Because it's like, thank you for seeing me. Oh, I feel like I'm getting emotional. But it's like, thank you for seeing me. Thank you for acknowledging me. Thank you for not just looking through me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I gave myself the biggest hug. I just held myself. It may sound cliche. It may sound like, but I needed that. And I need to allow myself to cry. I remember a couple years ago. Was it a couple years ago at this point? It must be. Jada Pinkett Smith was on a Red Table Talk and she was talking, I think she called it like shedding or something. There's a term she used for it where she was like, she just allows herself to cry in her adulthood because she wasn't allowed to cry when she was younger. So now she's making up for that. And that is me. At any inconvenience, if I feel waterworks, I will let them fall. I have to allow myself to cry. I have to allow myself to sit in those uncomfortable emotions that I was not allowed to feel as a child. I should allow myself that grace. Why am I stopping myself? Who is going to judge me? And even if anyone decides to, who the fuck are you and who cares? I'm doing this for younger me. She needs this outlet. And I really felt like as soon as, because it was literally like I hugged myself and I was like hugging younger me. Younger Fatu was feeling that. And it was like, I don't know how to explain this without sounding crazy, but whatever. But it felt like when I hugged younger me, there was a moment where I was also hugging teenage me and I was hugging current me as well. Because those are the phases, right? And now I feel like the chapter, I truly believe that the chapter with younger me's struggles is coming to a close. Obviously, life will happen and maybe there'll be some things, but as long as I keep acknowledging her, I will be fine. The next step of this obvious road is meeting up with teenage me now. And that's a whole different ballpark. But this week was so insightful. This week, I also practiced a lot of gratitude. I feel like every single week, I am more and more grateful. Because it's just like, wow. I am so happy to be alive. I was actually writing, and that was today, in my morning pages, where I was like, I am so happy. I cannot tell you the last time I was happy. This is also my birthday week. Best birthday week ever. I treated myself. Things in my life were going well. everything just feels like it's falling into place as it should be. And I am genuinely so happy. I feel so at peace. Obviously, there are some minor things, but I'm dealing with that, but they're not over consuming me. I'm not drowning in these feelings, and I am so happy. Crazy stuff. So this week 7, even though it was a lot emotionally, it was exactly what I needed. And yeah. What a beautiful week. I feel like I've been saying that since week 5-ish now, where I'm just like each week, like it feels like I'm on a steady incline. And I'm excited for more. But some part of me is also so sad because I'm realizing that the closer and closer I'm getting to the finish line, the more I'm like, so then what next? Like, what's coming after we're done? Like, what's gonna happen next? Anyways, all right. So week 8, it's recovering a sense of strength. This week tackles another major creative block, time. You will explore the ways in which you have used your perception of time to preclude taking creative risks. You will identify immediate and practical changes you can make in your current life. You will excavate the early conditioning that may have encouraged you to settle for far less than you desire creatively. Oh. Okay. Interesting. Settling for less. Interesting. Because of everything that I've learned about myself this week. So I'm interested to see how I'm going to take this lesson, how I'm going to carry this with me to the next week. Very, very interesting. Fantastic week, team. No, but honestly, genuinely, fantastic week. Learned a lot. So grateful for this week. Happy fucking birthday. Happy birthday. To all Aries people out there and Taurus people. I'm pretty sure because it's the 20th. Isn't Aries season open to closed ending tomorrow? I think the 22nd is Taurus season. So happy birthday to my Aries babies and my Taurus babies and my cuspers. This was great. This is fantastic. I started reading A Return of Love by Marianne Williamson because something that also clicked with me, I remember exactly 10 years now, because I'm realizing I was in grade 8 10 years ago. The quote is, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. And that's a tattoo that I want. That is going to be my first tattoo. I've literally for years, I've been saying that. And I didn't know it was a quote from a book. The first time I heard it was through this motivational video that I was sent on my drummies team. And I've carried that quote with me for 10 years now. But only now at 23 did it finally click in my head what Miss Marianne was saying. So I'm reading her book and it's about love and how we need to heal with love. And it's very interesting so far. And I feel like I'm finding this at the right time because I'm also just talking about this week also I was talking about self-love, and it was all about just treating myself with care, with kindness, being gentler with myself, because I'm not a strong woman. I am the weakest of the weak. Oh my gosh, that's so rude. But clearly that's the sign. We're done here. Thank you so much. Week 7, you've taught me a lot, and I'm taking these lessons and I'm carrying them with me. So I will see you in week 8. Love ya.